Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of the Racing Addicts podcast. We are going to be recapping all things Daytona. We're talking about baby. The Diet Coca-Cola 400.
Can we talk about that now? That race name was way too long. I'm just saying, way too long.
Do you know why it is that?
Because it used to be the Pepsi 400.
Well, it's the Coke 600, right? And then the Diet Coke 400.
The irony is, I think we had more miles this year than we did in the Coke 600.
Oh!
Sorry.
So that being said, we welcome to the AW Media Studios, the home of the biased. I put my notes way up on the high screen. I'm going to bring them down so I can see them. Yeah, that's much better.
This is a professional outfit here. This is good.
Yes. It also shot to something that was not what I wanted to see because it says Monday list. White with green doors. That is not it. Here we go. Home of the bias. So Harrison is in. He won. He did not wreck anybody to do it. And he's in the playoffs. How do we feel about the worst driver in the field next to Cody Ware making the playoffs?
I feel like first we need to properly welcome our guest tonight.
Oh, I forgot.
We did forget to welcome him. And he's wearing a Harrison Burton shirt, so this feels like the perfect time to throw it to him.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Once again, I'm glad to be back. And these guys and I went down to Martinsville a few years ago. I caught a lot of flack for buying this shirt. And funny how the tables turn, or turntables, as Michael Scott would say.
I don't think the tables have turned. That was one good night.
If there's one thing about these tables, they are very stationary.
No, I agree. That's probably the one and only win that we're going to see from him. But I was happy for the Wood brothers.
Yes, that I can agree with. That I'm good with.
We're happy for the Wood brothers. Overall, though, pretty good race. It was a lot more racy than I thought it would be.
So here was my number one takeaway, and this backs up a lot of the things that we whine about all the time. Apparently, SMT went down during the race, and I do not have confirmation of when exactly it came back, but I know it was gone for the majority of the first half of the race. And I see one stat, which is, the SMT data is down, and then I look at the TV, and the racing's phenomenal. And I'm like, maybe these two things are related. Oh my gosh! It was beautiful. I think whoever took down SMT Saturday night, you are hired. There's 11 more races this season and 38 more next year, every weekend. Whatever you did, do it. Please. We love it.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly agreed. I mean, it was a good race the whole way through. And then, there was the shenanigans at the very end of the race, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So if you were to rate this race, I mean, it was racy. There was a lot of cautions. There were accidents. Brad and Chris were the only two racers to get stage points in all three stages.
Nice. Blaney got McDowell, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so
no doubt about that.
Everybody did. Everybody did. What a guy.
But I do like.
I've never been so happy. Nothing says Spire like McDouchebag.
Exactly. Second that wholeheartedly. I mean, he's a clown. Yeah. He always has been a clown. The only time he shows up is the Superspeedways and the road course races. And even then, it's just like Ricky Spenhouse, with wrecking everybody at the Superspeedways,
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, he did it at Talladega, too. Like, he caused that ginormous pile up at the end of Talladega. Like, drives me nuts. So, what would you rate it, David? Sorry, you were kicking that off.
I would like to rate it a 7.
It's a good number.
It could have been an 8, but they screwed Brad Keselowski.
I am dying on this hill. Come on.
Which I'm sure is in our list or notes. It's not.
If it's not, it's going to be. So
it is now. It just got added to the notes.
It's added in the notes right now. So yeah, I mean, it was a really good race. I thought compared to the spring Daytona race, I thought it was a very, very competitive race. I think it was 7 cars that weren't involved in a wreck, and almost all of them got wrecked in the last lap.
Yeah, that's true. Spring Daytona was so bad, dude. It was awful, and we spent all that money to go to it. I was so mad, but this was awesome. Yeah.
This was awesome.
So if we're rating it on a next gen super speedway scale, I'm going 9 because the only thing better is Atlanta. But on a normal scale, I'm probably further to like an 8 or a 7. But like Saturday night way blew my expectations out of the water from what I walked into the evening with. So, like, what do you think, Kevin?
I was going to say an 8, compared to some of the other races this season. I mean, this was definitely on the better end of things. I mean, it wasn't slot cars. There was definitely passing. And, while there were people that were getting stalled out, there was good runs and people were using their heads for the most part.
Except for the 34 and the 2. They were driving like the 34 and the 2. But that's on our list too. I heard from one, and I forget whose podcast it was, that the shark fin that they added to keep the cars on the ground, which LOL, we'll get to that too, that actually made the cars more difficult to drive. And that's why we saw handling come more into play. So it's like, please, all these things, like anything that makes the car harder to drive, I'm totally in. Thank you very much. We're moving the right direction. Maybe
we've been talking about it, ever since they went to this next gen car, that they need to go to lower downforce and put the driver back in the seat rather than having everything so identical in slot cars. I mean, when you make the cars harder to drive, and I know I've been saying this every time I've been on, higher horsepower also makes a difference. But yeah, I mean, when you put the driver back in the seat, the cream rises to the top as opposed to, just having a hodgepodge and getting, people that have no skill up at the front.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the 35th place in points won the race or anything. So,
And he actually so Harrison Burton wins the race. He leads one half of a lap. What is going on? I thought it was a really cool moment for Jeff Burton to be in the booth and watch his little boy win.
That was awesome.
Definitely.
That was cool. And he earned it. I think he earned the race. I mean, he was like the only car that didn't get wrecked.
Well, and he still had to hold off a run from, Kyle Busch there at the end. And, there was a little bit of debate about pushing him below the yellow line. But I don't know. I think Kyle Busch kind of insinuated that whenever he ran into the back of him, that it just kind of turned Harrison itself. But, I mean, I think Harrison did great. And then what was it? Retzlaff that pushed him to the lead.
Parker, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, props to him for somebody who's never up in the front, to keep it together and have a hell of a finish for, that entire team,
It was, and like I know we've given Harrison a lot of crap already and we've given it all season. Like he did legitimately earn the win. Like I don't want to make it like, it's not like when Austin Dillon won in 2022 with like 3 cars on the track and he still had to Rex Cindric to do it. Like Harrison did a great job on the restart and stole it. So like it was it's the whole him advancing to the playoffs thing that kind of ticked me off.
Well,
but,
and wasn't he in like 6th in the last restart before, he was up front?
He was up there.
He was there sort of after some of the other fast teams were already taken out by McDowell. Sorry.
Breaking news, Penske cars go fast at Daytona.
Yeah, right?
So while we're on the Harrison Burton topic, I think so. We got rid of the top 30 rule. I think it is a sin that Harrison Burton will be in the playoffs and most likely Ross Chastain or Bubba Wallace will not be in the playoffs.
Hey, I mean, man, come on.
If you look at football, you can't, if the Redskins win the last game, they shouldn't get in the playoffs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can't lose every game and still make the playoffs just because you won one. I am going to adamantly be against this. I think it should be reinstated. I don't know that it should be top 30. I think it should be more points based. Like if you are beyond, so many points below the cut line or behind the leader is kind of hard because the leader's points get up there pretty high.
They do. Yeah. But, and that's a hard metric. That's a hard metric.
Yeah. So, something that stops it from being like that because I never thought I'd be in this position, but Bubba Wallace has earned his spot in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Well, what's hard is like 3 guys that are out right now are Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, and Bubba Wallace. And Harrison Burton, Daniel Suarez, and Austin Cindric are in. Like, and it's just I guess Daniel Suarez I'm good with. Like, I shouldn't complain because he's at least a top 20 guy. So like he's semi earned that, but it's. At the very least, I think the top 30 rule needs to come back because I mean, again, Harrison, like he's, I think.
Could you imagine?
He's so far back,
Austin
dude.
Dillon was still in it. Oh,
yeah.
You might as well just not even have the round of 12.
Right.
It's just a bye week for the rest of us, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and back before they went to this playoff system, I mean, it was consistency was key. You know, you weren't guaranteed anything just by having a win. Now, if you had a bunch of wins, well, that's different. But again, that goes back to consistency. You know, this whole win and you're in platform, I'm not saying I'm against it, but at the same time, it leaves a lot to be desired with this exact situation.
And that's where, like, I think I really do like the current playoff format because it makes the end of the season relevant, where honestly, for a lot of years, I feel like it didn't. So I like it, but I think you do have to have the guardrails. Like if we still had like the top 30 rule, or if we even had a top 25 rule, which I know you and I talked about, David, which I'm even great with making it top 25 mandatory.
Honestly, I agree wholeheartedly.
Like, then all the conversations the last 3 weeks are gone because Austin Dillon, even today, is 29th in points and Harrison Burton's 34th. So now that's not even relevant to the conversation. And now we've got, I think right now it's Bubba that would be in. I think Bubba's the first one out, if I'm correct. So
I have it somewhere. I just don't know where I put it.
The man and his screens, ladies and gentlemen.
I tell you what,
27 IMAX over there, making it happen.
There is a ridiculous amount of what's going on here. So yeah, under the cut line right now is Bubba, Ross, and Kyle Busch. Realistically, Bubba and Ross they're in the bubble. Kyle Busch is going to have to win to get in. He's 106 points below.
Yeah.
But Ross is 27, Bubba's 21, and Chris Buescher is obviously plus 21. Ty Gibbs is plus 39, and Truex is 58. So, I mean, realistically, it's Buescher's spot to lose. So,
and here's one of the big questions going into the weekend that I have. If we look at Kyle Busch at Darlington, there's no question. But obviously, I think the 8 car makes us all a little bit suspect right now because of their inconsistency. Do you guys think Kyle Busch can win his way in this weekend?
Honestly, based off of the performance the entire season, I don't. I have no confidence because even if he is doing good, which I never want to see, his team's going to lose it for him. I mean, that's been proven time and time again throughout the season.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's going to be. I mean, it could happen. I think the percentage would be 15% chance of winning it in.
Yeah, you're probably
especially,
right.
Especially with, Ross and Bubba are also very good at Darlington. Chris Buescher is very good at Darlington. Like,
yeah,
I don't know that they can beat him by 21 points. That's a lot.
It really is. And I mean, if I know it's later in the show, but like, I guess I shouldn't say my predictions yet, but like Ross Chastain's track record at Darlington is phenomenal as far as speed and running position. He seems to wreck himself at the end sometimes, but so, I mean, it really puts the pressure on.
And Buescher,
Buescher's fantastic.
That's the thing. Like, Buescher's fantastic. I mean, if he runs top 5 or top 10 all day, no chance.
I mean, do we bring up the fact that he probably should already have a win there?
Truth.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the playoff, if you look at the 16 drivers in currently, you got Larson, Bell, Reddick, Byron, Blaney, Hamlin, Elliott, Keselowski, Logano. So there's 9 that are 100% are in. Cindric, Suarez, Bowman, Burton. They have just been very dismal all year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only time Cindric shows up is whenever it's a Superspeedway also. He just has not progressed, especially since they switched to this next-gen car. I mean, in the Xfinity Series, he looked good. He looked stout, but
he looked good.
It hasn't transferred. But then again, the same thing can be said for Harrison Burton, too, because in the Xfinity Series, he held his own, and he was a solid front runner, and it just hasn't transferred to the next-gen car.
You know what? I just had a realization. Ryan Blaney is to blame for most of this because Daniel Suarez,
the last one to win for the Wood brothers.
Well, there's that, but also look at the win that Daniel Suarez locked in with. He beat Blaney by like that, and then Cindric got in because of 1 gallon too few fuel at Gateway. So if Blaney has 2 more inches and 1 more gallon of fuel, the 2 and the 99 are not even in this conversation right now, and the 23 and the 1 are already locked in. and Kyle Busch is on the bubble.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think everybody wishes they had 2 more inches.
You know, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, someone's going to run with this. I know it.
I did not.
Look at that self-control. I'm so proud of you, David.
So if we look at the regular season standings, your top 16 would put you at Kyle Busch, Joey Logano. This is going from 16 up through. It's Busch, Logano, Chastain, Wallace, Bowman, Buescher, Gibbs, Truex, Denny and he also has that 25-point penalty.
Yeah.
Brad in 7th, Christopher Bell in 6th, Byron, Blaney, Elliott, Larson, and Tyler Reddick, who is pretty much he's got 17 points. He's probably going to take a run at this. There's a solid chance that he is going to take this championship, and we'll make that point. If he has the championship, that gives him there's 15 playoff points. Is it 15?
It's big. It's 15 playoff points. Big. Yeah, for winning the regular season.
How about this? How's a bold prediction? Denny Hamlin is going to win a championship this year, not as a driver.
After this past weekend, I've decided I am willing to lock in 2 of my championship Ford drivers right now, which seems crazy. Yeah. We're 11 weeks out, but I'm telling you, the 45 car is going to be there and the 12 car is going to be there. I'm locking it in right now. 45 and 12, last 2 TBD. If you look at the most points scored over the summer months, it's the 45 and the 12, and then a gap to the 3rd place guy. Those 2 teams are on fire, and I don't see it changing. I think those are going to be the 2 come down Phoenix you're watching. Say that right now. I completely
agree. And not only that, Tyler Reddick he's got 2 wins. That should be 6.
Oh, 100%.
Easily 6.
100%. Yeah. Dude is rock solid. And
yeah. And honestly, a lot of them weren't even his fault. It's like Larson really shoots himself in the foot all the time. Tyler just gets really unlucky this year.
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you what, he is, unless I'm totally off on this, he is the most consistent Toyota that I've seen.
Oh, agreed wholeheartedly.
Because
according to the point standing, he's the most consistent driver.
Well, yeah, that's very accurate. So it's really not that hot a take. Sorry.
No. Because Alex is talking about the blue sky.
Because what's hard is you've got Christopher Bell. When they show up, nobody can touch him. But the next week he's running 28th. It's so all over the place. Whereas I feel like the 45, every week at the end of the race, you're like, oh crap, there he is. It doesn't matter the track, doesn't matter anything. Which is just really cool, And
honestly, it's the 2311 cars because Bubba's honestly there every week too. He just somehow isn't capitalizing. And I'm not trying to say that isn't it's on him. I don't think he's the reason it's not capitalizing. It's just with NASCAR, it's just not your day.
Yeah. I think
that's the one thing that sucks. You could be the best car all day long and 5 laps to go, you're out.
I think right now the 23 team needs 5% more. I feel like if they were 5% faster, they would be in the position to take advantage on a late restart. But right now they're restarting 7th on a late race restart and getting to 3rd. Whereas if they were running 3rd or 4th, they could get the win on a late restart or something like that. If they're just missing that tiny little bit, but they've cleaned up a ton. Bubba's cleaned up a ton. And they're executing way, way, way better. I felt like last year they were constantly shooting themselves in the foot. And this year it feels like even mediocre days, they're there. They might not be winning, but they're there.
Yeah, the consistency has definitely been a lot better. I still think that he needs to try to figure out a way to self-regulate a little bit better. I mean, listening to the Radioactive after the races, whenever they put that out, I mean, he still gets pretty riled up. I mean, I know being a Blaney fan, I don't have a whole lot of room to talk, but Bubba still gets himself pretty wrapped up, and then it takes a while for him to kind of get out of that funk and get back into a groove.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe where they're losing just a little bit.
And I know Freddie is really good for that. because I've heard the clips already where like Bubba yells, "Shut the F up," and Freddie goes, "Copy, shutting the F up," and like, and I know that's good for him because those are the moments where Bubba just laughs and he's like, "Sorry, I'm an idiot," So like, yeah, you're right, and I think he's getting better. I really do. Agreed. I feel like 2024, I've seen way more out of Bubba than I did the years before. So,
absolutely, I think if we're going to go most improved, he has to be it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
real quick. So I got to run off here for a couple of seconds. I got to go. My wife is not feeling the best, and I promised that I would take, which is why I'm remote today. So I'm going to go put the kids to bed here and be gone for a couple minutes. But before I go, I just want to point out something for the Cup because you guys are probably going to move on to the Xfinity and Truck Series races.
Oh, I thought this was where the sponsorship dollars came in. Just
TKST. I believe it's A to B Media and DLG Electric are tonight's sponsors of the episode. Yep.
Yes.
If you need speakers or receptacles, we got you.
Another top 11. Where Carson hosts a bar.
Dude.
Joan Rivers is outperforming McDowell. McDowell, Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, Ricky Spinhouse, Eric Jones, Ryan Priest, Daniel Hemrick, Austin Dillon, Justin Haley. Excuse me. John, maybe I'm not done dying yet. John Hunter,
It's good knowing you.
Corey LaJoy, Zane Smith, Harrison Burton, and Cody Ware. How impressive is that?
And he's cleaning up a lot too. Like we've given Carson a hard time, but he's cleaning up a ton.
You don't see him. Like no. you're not hearing him.
Right.
That's what you want. You don't want to be on there. You don't really want to be seen that much as a rookie,
unless you're winning.
And when you're not seen and you're 21st in points. Wow.
I would take Carson Hocevar over Michael McDowell right now in a heartbeat.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I know that's probably not a hot take, but like in his first year, I see more potential in Carson than I do in Michael McDowell.
I think I see more potential in. So the only the only Stewart-Haas car that's running better than him is Chase.
That surprises me actually. But yeah, I guess Chase sneaks it out at the end, I guess, a lot. I feel like he runs like garbage and ends up top 18.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He is about 45 points ahead of him. So it's not by a little, it's a lot,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's impressive.
Yeah. I mean,
we can kill time if you want to put the kiddos down. We can kill time on this end, and you can do your daddily.
That's what I'm saying.
Going to the exact opposite, you were talking about Carson Hocevar and how he is improving. The one that I feel like's had a real slump this year or has kind of fallen off, the hot streak that they started with is Ty Gibbs. I'm not saying that he's doing bad.
They're kind of mid.
Yeah.
He's kind of mid right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like last year, I mean, he was up there winning stage points like left and right. And now this year, like you just don't see him. I mean, I'm not saying he's missing it by much, but like he's really taken a slump in his sophomore year, I think.
Yeah.
Top 10 really sucks.
Well, compared to winning stage points, every week, taking number one like he was last year. I mean,
I will say I expected Ty Gibbs to do better this year. I think I did. I expected him to crank out a win at some point this year.
And I think that's more what I'm kind of getting at is just you thought with how shot out of a cannon he was last season that he would have done more this year, and it's been really quiet.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's a fair point. It feels like something is still missing there. Like I don't know what it is, but there's something not 100%. I don't feel like yet with him. Like maybe a mental piece, because even when he's in contention at the end of races, it just feels like he's not. I don't know, like he's not there. So I don't know, but while David is putting his kids away, we did have an aero adjustment to address the cars flipping, which did not work as we had two cars flip over. So I'm not an engineer. I guess I should preface that, but to me. When you seal the whole freaking bottom of a car, does that not create like a ginormous thing for air to hit when like you spin? I I don't know what I'm expecting, but I feel like I'm expecting engineers to be smarter than me. I don't know.
I mean, to that point, I will say I'm surprised that McDowell didn't go over and his car sat back down. But at the exact same time, Josh Berry, he went over and never came back and just slid, 100 mile an hour into the wall.
Dude, that was a scary hit. I was legit nervous during that. I thought he was hurt. And I'm so glad he
wasn't expecting him to get out of the car and give a thumbs up and then be so nonchalant about his interview. I mean, he even said in the interview, "Oh, that hit wasn't as bad as it probably looked." And I'm like, dude, that looked terrible because his car was not slowing down just because of how little the friction surface was. And I mean, it was just sliding forever and a day.
Because I swear he hit that wall at plus 100 mile an hour.
Oh,
because the car was still traveling, I feel like, that fast.
Oh, he had to have been. I mean, there was nothing for him to scrub speed. I mean, and then did you see the front end afterwards? I mean,
oh yeah, it was jacked. It was freaking jacked.
I'm surprised that the firewall didn't come back into his legs, honestly, with how hard that hit was. Now, granted, I understand these cars are designed for safety and, to not crumple, around the drivers, but that was a hard hit. At least it looked that way. Thank God for the safer barriers, because I think, a few years ago, that would have been a career ender.
It definitely would have been worse. And obviously, like, we do not like this car. I feel like as a group, we've been fairly vocal about that without being subtle. Yeah. But I credit where it is due. They have for sure made the car safer. They've because I noticed the front of the car crumbled, which is what it's supposed to do.
It did.
And like years ago, we didn't have that. Like they would just hit and the cars looked like they were ready to go run another 100 laps. And meanwhile, the driver's taking all the G-force. So credit where it's due. I don't think the shark fin helped at all. I feel like the 4 lifted just as quick, if not quicker, than the 7 did last week.
That's fair.
I don't think the shark fin's working. And I know our buddies over at the Here for the Speed podcast actually went hardcore into this because their one guy, Jake, is like all in on the shark fin. And he's got the whole thing scienced out. So you definitely should go listen to their episode and listen to his rant. I don't even want to try to repeat it because I'm going to screw it up. It was actually it was a well thought out rant. But the issue is, like he was showing, every car that goes airborne is at the same angle. So what's happening is, right at that angle, there's a flat spot. Because that's the angle that the air isn't able to get over the car.
And then that's what's causing the lift.
Exactly. Yeah. And the problem is, like he was saying, they put the shark fin right at the problematic area. So all you did was make the surface area bigger. So now like there's more for it to catch the lift. So, I mean, there's definitely some stuff to figure out. I mean, like I said, I'm still not a fan of this car. Like I would not be upset if tomorrow they're like, oh, we're just going to scrap it. I'd be like, thank God.
Yeah, you wouldn't hear any argument out of me. No. I mean, I will say that you're seeing cars go less vertical like you did back in the day. I mean, who was it? Elliott Sadler at Talladega back, in the early 2000s.
What
that
wild
car was
flip,
so far up in the air. And I was there at that race and saw it live in person.
Were you really? I didn't know that.
I was.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I was sitting on the front stretch and I could see that car above all the trailers and everything else, through the infield and everything. I mean, that was a scary hit. And I'm glad that the cars don't get vertical like that, like they used to. However,
good point.
The fact that we've had 2 cars go airborne and flip like they have the past 2 weeks, I still think it needs more work. I mean, the roof flaps are definitely a lot bigger and they are helping, but they're still missing the boat somewhere along the lines.
Yeah, and I think that's where I am too. Like, there's still something that is just a little bit off. I hate to harp on this because we're a Corey LaJoy fan club.
Well, you guys are,
but
I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I like that he's a 3rd generation driver. I just think he missed the talent, whenever it's being dispersed out. That's all.
I just. And I'm not even willing to blame him for the pileup. I know everyone else is. I don't know that you can 100% blame him on there. The part that I didn't like was when LaJoy almost pulled a Kevin LePage coming off pit road. Apparently it didn't make the broadcast. I only saw it on Twitter, but he came out of the pits as the pack was coming by the exit of pit road, and he just comes onto the racing surface. And somebody posted the in-car camera from Todd Gilliland. I am telling you, homie had to get a pair of shorts after that because he dives on the inside of the car in front of him maybe seconds before Corey comes up on the track. And it's like, and he jerks the car, and it probably wasn't as close as it looked in the in-car, but in the in-car, it looked like the 38 and the 7 were like scraping paint. It was insane. And that's, I like him a lot as a guy. Obviously, Mitch is one of our best friends, and he's a huge Corey LaJoie fan. I want Corey to stop making headlines. I just want him to run a quiet race, finish top 20, and like move forward. And it's been a struggle the last couple of weeks.
And something else is, you love his personality. He gives a great interview. He's very fan friendly and oriented. The problem is he just makes bonehead decisions that end up costing himself the race or others. And it's just like, come on, dude. You've been in this sport long enough. You should know better. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but wasn't there a race here 2-3 weeks ago where someone else was penalized for going up onto the track, coming out of the pit lane too quickly?
Oh, the Indy situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, why wouldn't, Corey LaJoie fall in that same kind of category? I mean, especially creating a moving hazard like the situation you just described.
Well, he didn't do anything in opposition to the rule book.
He didn't.
It wasn't
but
a
he
good
clearly
move,
was under speed though when the rest of the field is coming around. I mean, and there was no good way for him to move up. Where you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I agree it was a bad move, but I don't think there's anything they can actually penalize for.
Well, I'm not saying I want him penalized. I just want them to sit him down and have a talk with the kid. Like, come on, dude, you should know better by now.
And that you would hope. And like we talked about this last week, me and David did. There's a rumor that he's going to Rick Ware next year, which is basically like an Rick Ware and RFK's shops touch.
Okay, kind of like Penske and the Wood Brothers.
Yeah, except there isn't a Wood Brothers shop. But yes, it's kind of the same thing. And it feels like Corey has the talent. He's missing the mental piece.
Yes.
And so the hope that David brought up last week was that maybe with being in the Brad Keselowski bubble, that like some of that can just translate.
Well, and he's been with Spire for a good number of years now. So maybe things are just getting stale also. So, or maybe they're putting more of their emphasis on one of the other cars in the team, and that's why things do seem like they're taking like a back step this season as opposed to like last year when he was more consistent. He was running, up front. I mean, I'm not saying he was a top 5 car, but he was definitely a top 12 car. More often than not. So I think it's something's missing, and hopefully that'll rejuvenate and get a fresh take on things.
Yep. No, I agree. We do have a David back. The next thing I had on the notes was the SMT.
Could you hear my phone ringing?
No, I couldn't actually. You did a good, or something blocked it out because I don't think I heard it.
Oh, it's because it rang through the iPad.
Oh. The iPad blocked it. God bless you.
This iPad is smart.
It's
smart.
I will say the AI zooming still freaks me out because you rock all the time, and then your video shot just. Like that. There it is.
It's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah. So we were down to the last topic under the Cup section, David, unless you had something you wanted to add.
Duffy.
Doesn't it sound like a country artist, Lee Diffie?
Well, I mean, there was Joe
Duffy.
Diffie,
I'm calling him Duffy.
That's probably
his
why.
Diffie. You're right.
Duffy.
Well, we did skip the McDowell Cindric cause.
Oh, we did.
We did. 'Cause that's a hot take right there.
This is we need to throw a little bit of hatred out. Did you have a strong opinion on that wreck?
Oh my God, yes.
I want to hear your opinion before I give my opinion.
Oh, that was 100% McIdiot's fault. You can see it. I mean, not that I like to give Cindric a lot of credit, even though I'm a Penske fan. I mean, Cindric clearly lifted, and I mean, he was trying, but the cars behind Cindric were just shoving him forward, and McIdiot just didn't give any room whatsoever. I mean, that was disaster in the making.
He parked it. I think so what's funny, like we had our little group chat going, and I had just texted the group like the lap before. And I went, oh crap, the 34 and the 2 were leading the line. Everyone get ready. And then like as I hit send, like
Now see here, I just thought your feed was faster than mine.
Because it's like, I mean, they are 2 of the most hazardous drivers on Superspeedway tracks. And when I saw them together, I'm like, oh, this is going to end badly.
Yeah.
And took out the freaking 12, man.
10,000% McDowell's fault.
See, I was willing to go 50-50 just because I felt like Cindric's, like there was a gap between Cindric and whoever was behind him. So I'm like, Cindric could have pulled brakes a little bit, but McDowell did park it in front of the line. Like,
and
straight up
if
park
you watch
it.
the replay, you could see that the flame shot out the exhaust, that Cindric got out of the gas and he was still being shoved forward by the cars behind him.
Yeah.
There was nothing Cindric could do. Again, Cindric makes a lot of bonehead moves. I mean, he's as bad as Recce Spinhouse at super speedways. But McDowell definitely is more at fault than anybody else for that one.
So, David, what I'm hearing is that apparently the 34 throws bad blocks at super speedways. Is this something that you've encountered as a Brad Keselowski fan? Is this like resonating at all?
I didn't want to talk about them. Let's talk about the fact that Austin Cindric sucks so much that he burned his tires and got Brad a freaking penalty.
This is a good point. You have the floor.
So I look at the SMT data, and he fired before Brad, but he did not go because he fired and spun the tires.
And I'm trying, and like Brad had a car up his rear end, so I don't like. What is the 6 supposed to do? That's what I didn't understand.
Point was Brad
I
was
wanted
clearly
him to
getting
just
shoved
say,
forward.
F it. You're welcome. I didn't swear. F it.
Thank you.
We're not going in. You can black flag me. You're going to have to bring a pace car out here to stop me.
Kind of like they did to Richard Petty back Darlington a few years ago.
Oh, yeah. Do you guys remember the old Carl Edwards clip where somebody wrecked at Daytona coming to the Tri-Oval, and he went below the yellow line to avoid the wreck, and they penalized him.
I do remember that.
And he was like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to pile in? That's how I felt for Brad. That was my...
But on the bright side, because of that penalty, he avoided McDouchebag.
This is true. Yeah. So you're welcome, because Blaney got full... Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yep. No, you know who really got it? Joey.
Yeah.
Joey. Oh.
Logano got it bad.
Yes, he did.
Did you see one of the NASCAR memes today posted? It's from some movie where the car's flipping over the other one, and they put McDowell's head in the car flipping and Joey's head on the car on the bottom.
Are you sure it wasn't from Fast and the Furious? Because I'm
probably
pretty sure
was.
that was, right
Fast
at the end
Furious.
of the movie where Dom hits the train and launches over top.
You know what? I think
Brian
that's exactly what it was from. It's exactly And I was like, that's
amazing.
fantastic. Yeah, because
So I have breaking news.
here it is. Do.
I now have 2 friends that perm their mullets.
You have friends?
Who's
How
the
weird
second?
is that? Tyler.
Wait. Barhart?
Yeah, look at him.
My
What's that?
man, come on. Oh, stupid AI. Just show us the face.
It's like, I want to see David, not that phone. Look at him.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that handsome devil. Okay, that's really curly. That's I can't.
Shout out.
Yeah, he looks like David Phelps.
Shout out to
That's
you,
a lot
buddy.
of curl.
Well, and the glass of wine definitely didn't help his case any there. Just saying.
Yay! We're so setting this down. Oh.
I should just send him the Zoom link now.
We got to see it. We got to see his face.
We got to see this live.
This could be our new buy-in subscription thing. Is that anybody that wants to join? We just send them the Zoom link for like $15 a month or something.
Or I don't think they're going to pay for it.
We have tens of fans, David. What are you talking about?
Tens of fans. Moving on to Xfinity, because I thought you guys would be at least to Lane Briggs dislocating his shoulder by now, but you're not. Ryan Truex wins again in the Xfinity.
Bro, get this guy a full-time ride. Exactly.
How not?
Harrison Burton's in the playoff and Ryan Truex doesn't have a ride. I'm just saying that something doesn't line up.
And Allmendinger, he channeled his inner McDouchebag.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. And Parker was very respectful but pointed in his interview. I thought it was a very good interview. He's like, I'm just disappointed.
Well, Parker sucked last week, so I mean,
yeah, he's got some moments.
he caused the wreck himself last week. So, I mean, it is what it is.
I was disappointed because I thought the race was really entertaining and I wanted to see it like run to the finish. Plus the 7 had a good run going. And obviously, you know, my boy. So I was a little disappointed. That Hellman's car wins a lot. And I thought the Hellman's car was going to win again Friday night.
Hellman's car wins a lot.
Especially against Sheldon Creed.
Jeffrey Earnhardt starts. No, I'm not gonna lie. I did not watch anything but the Cup race. I had a very busy weekend. However, I can bring up the topic so you can talk about it. So Jeffrey Earnhardt starts Truex? ?
I don't know if you guys watch Xfinity. If not, I'll just keep talking about stuff.
I'll admit you can go ahead because I was at the dirt track Friday night helping Kenny. So
that's right. I keep forgetting they raced. I'm so screwed up. I'm so used to it being
I
Saturday.
missed the Xfinity race because I was
the whole weekend was just a mess up.
Yeah, it's everything's all, and the trucks were on Sunday afternoon. Like things just didn't make sense. Dogs with cats, cats with dogs.
Agreed.
It's just what even is this world? No, Jeffrey Earnhardt. Jeffrey Earnhardt for sure caused 2 accidents. And what was funny is the car. I'm gonna get this wrong. One of the interested parties that was involved in the first wreck that Jeffrey Earnhardt caused was also in the second wreck that Jeffrey Earnhardt caused, and he was tweeting very negative things about Jeffrey Earnhardt, and it was kind of entertaining. It was just bonehead, and then like so there's a
he was
wreck
just trying to rattle their cage.
Yeah,
just trying to rattle the cage.
And yeah, it's just like the Austin Dillon thing. You can't say that if you don't have talent. Like Dale Earnhardt was talented and rattled their cage. Austin Dillon comes from half a freaking straightaway back. Yeah. And Jeffrey Earnhardt's in 38th and just doesn't lift for the car getting sideways. Like there's a big difference. And there was also a wreck on the first lap of the Xfinity race where like someone, I forget what happened. Like I think Jeremy Clements got hit. Jeremy Clements got hit by the 26. That's what started the first wreck. And everyone's slowing down because it's the first lap. So everyone's kind of just 2 by 2. And whoever drives the 35 car, I can't say his name. I forget what it is. Dude was like already half a lap back and somehow piles right in at full speed. And I'm like, what did we see happening? Like, freaking drivers with money, more money than talent. Drives me nuts. Like, that's all I'm saying. And then Jeb Burton threw about 3,700 late blocks during the race and then finally caused a pile with one of them.
I believe you said 87,000.
I did. There was a slight exaggeration on the notes, but
I'm sending it. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Official. 87,000.
You know what? It may not be an exaggeration after watching that race Friday night. Jeb Burton tried to cause multiple accidents, and finally he was successful towards the end of the race. So he tried blocking a guy that was already at his right rear wheel, and didn't work.
Well, to be fair, I mean, that's what super speedways have come down to is just throwing blocks and trying to make your car as wide as possible. I mean, we've seen that with Brad Keselowski over and over again, Joey Logano. I mean, pretty much anybody who's out front. You know, you're trying to make it as wide as possible. But the problem is you got to have a little bit of sense so that you're not throwing it at a car that's already beside you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just dumb. But I guess they got to learn sometime. It's just you see some of the same players over and over again, and you're like I like Jeb Burton. He's another one that's I think a very fun personality. I really like him as a person, but it's like he is consistently a weapon on the super speedways. Like you know that 27 is gonna be all over the track, blocking here, blocking there, blocking here, blocking there, late block here, late block there, pull the brakes, hit the parachute, whatever. Oh my gosh!
Hey, that's his card right there. Where you are, we are too.
Is that AAA?
I don't know what this is actually. It's just a card over my desk.
Oh, I thought it was coming to pick up his wreck car.
If we could have a time machine real quick and rewind to where I walked away because there was a topic in the cup I wanted to land on that I never did. Kyle Larson caused at least 4 wrecks Saturday night. At least.
So I want to clarify, you are blaming him for the Corey LaJoie wreck. Is that correct?
I'm blaming him for the Corey LaJoie wreck. I'm blaming him for the John Henry Nemechek wreck. I'm blaming him for the whenever the 10 wrecked. And there was one more I can't remember right now. He was a wrecking ball.
He was.
I don't know what's going on. He was driving like trash.
Checkers or wreckers? Come on, dude.
Yeah.
But no, even though I don't like John Hunter Nemechek, he 1,000% Larson was at fault for starting that one.
I must be the only one that was blaming John Hunter because I thought Larson hit him square. It looked like he hit him square
in the side of his car.
After it's John Hunter, he's always sideways.
Fair. That's facts.
So I just wanted to point that out. We give a lot of people credit or grief, and we give Larson a lot of credit. So I think he needs to take his licks. I don't think that was Corey's fault.
It does seem to be a thing with Larson lately, where like he can't finish a race. That does seem to be a bit. And I love Larson, like he's generational talent, but like there's some cleaning up to do. There's some cleaning up to do in that 5 car.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
I think we're done with Xfinity. Do we need to talk about ARCA brakes takes out ARCA?
Oh, that was it's the phrase ARCA brakes whenever someone just doesn't live for a wreck. And I was just making fun of the guy on lap 1. Yeah, one of the foreigners in the 35 car.
Yes. So moving to the truck race, Lane Riggs does win his first race at Milwaukee. Woo-hoo! And in doing so, he went like this and dislocated his shoulder, and then they swiftly popped it back in. Pretty cool.
I mean, I
did not watch that race either.
If that kind of celebration doesn't make you a fan of a guy, I don't know what to. Like, I was already a Lane Riggs fan, and I was that much more. When I saw him fist bump and throw his arm out and then pop it back in and keep celebrating, I was like, yeah, come on. That's
give that man a shot of Fireball.
That was cool. No, he's a big time car store guy, and he his first year in trucks, and it hasn't been amazing, but he's starting to make some gains, and it's cool to see. Crazy talented, son of Scott Riggs, former Cup driver from back in the day, and now here we are. So that was cool. Which hindsight, great weekend for Mitch. I feel like we got to throw that out since he's one of our guys. Ryan Truex wins his 3rd Xfinity race Friday night.
Ding, 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 ding.
And he is a massive Lane Riggs fan, and Lane Riggs won yesterday. So, like, this, I know there was some controversy with Corey on Saturday, but, like, all in all, this was a winning weekend for Mitch. Like, I feel like we gotta take the checkered flags here.
I can't do this podcasting from home stuff.
Oh, boy.
You're too ADD. There's too many screens. That's what it is.
My wife just walked by my office naked.
Well, congratulations.
Hey, AI, knock it off. AI is trying to zoom in. Knock it off. Stupid iPad. All right, we're not going to David's camera for the rest of the episode. It's going to be me and Kevin right here. Keep it in the pocket.
If you, Kevin. So in recent news, Austin Dillon loses both appeals. Womp womp. Oh, well. Does anybody think he had a chance at winning? No.
No.
I tell you what, I think it's really weird, the whole the Hamlin situation.
You mean where they tore into their engine illegally?
I'm pretty sure they did that to cover up him cheating and decided it was better to take the penalty than get busted. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I agree wholeheartely. I mean, was there any question about this?
That is not a clerical error. You don't make that error. Oops. My bad.
I mean, I'm intrigued because it sure sounds like it was, but like, did you hear from when the race was? It was the Bristol race in March. So they literally, like, I guess NASCAR gives them like a 6-month leash to get the sealed motor back for inspection. So they had all this time, and apparently Toyota forgot, and they like ripped it apart or rebuilt it or something without NASCAR inspecting it.
It's not Rick Ware Racing here. It's not. It's Furniture Row.
Freaking TRD.
It's Joe Gibbs.
No, and it's not even Joe Gibbs. It's TRD that did it.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, okay.
It's weird. It's super weird.
There's definitely something going on behind the scenes. I mean, and I've always been a proponent saying that Joe Gibbs, when they were the golden boys in NASCAR and could do no wrong, that there was definitely something fishy there. There's no way that one team is just that dominant that nobody else has a shot.
You know what team's dominant this year? Penske Racing, boys. All 4 cars in victory lane this year.
Well,
suck on that, Joe Gibbs Racing.
I mean, not all of them deserve to be there, but that's besides the point. A win is a win.
Not at all. Only 2 of them. But here we are.
Oh my. Zane, SVG going full time in the 88.
That was so
in
cool.
2025.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm a big fan.
I hear people talking trash about, he can only road course.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Well, and like, have we not seen the gains? So SVG this year is racing a brand new car that he's got no time in on tracks he's never even heard of before, and he's running top 10. Like, the dude is stupid talented. Like, I don't. How can anyone hate SVG?
Well, and he makes good decisions. I mean, he's not putting his car in bad spots and taking people out. I mean, he's running consistently in a completely different series that he's never been in before. And again, running solidly.
Yeah.
I'm all for SVG. I love it.
I want to see him do well. And he's going to make the playoffs next year.
Oh, 100%.
Like, especially we're going to Mexico City. We added one more freaking road course to the schedule.
Yeah,
like,
we got 600 road cases on the schedule. He could have 5 wins next year.
He might have more wins than Harrison Burton next season. I'm just saying, like, just kidding. Everyone's going to have more wins than Harrison Burton next season.
Well, I mean, the Chicago race, that was new. And I mean, again, in a place that he's never been, and he ran solid all day there.
And if he wouldn't have gotten Chase Briscoe, there's a good chance he would have won at Chicago this year.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
He was at minimum going to be top 3 this year at Chicago.
100%.
So. I love it. I mean, and plus the 88's back. Like, how cool is that? That's awesome. Like, this whole thing was a win to me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm they can land UPS as a sponsor.
How awesome would that be for Darlington Throwback Weekend? If they could get UPS on that car and do a little like Dale Jarrett love throwback.
That'd be amazing. Or was it a quality care before that?
Well, I have a feeling
that'd be Ford.
I have a feeling Ford's not going to go on a Chevy, but we can hold out for UPS.
Whenever it was UPS, it was still Ford too, though.
No, but I mean, like, it was a Ford sponsor on a Ford. I don't think a Ford sponsor is going to go on a Chevy car.
I understand what you're saying.
That's what I was saying. But UPS would go on a Chevy car. That's what I was saying.
Zane Smith and Trackhouse are parting ways to make room for SVG. Where do we think he's going to land?
Front Row Motorsports. I am 99.9% sure he will be in the 36 car next season of Front Row Motorsports.
I love it. I love that union.
He's hanging out with Noah a lot. They're doing a lot of social media stuff together. And Front Row Motorsports apparently has an announcement coming up soon. Maybe this week. It might be this week. I'm just saying. They got 3 charters, only 2 drivers announced. Zane Smith's free. He's a former FRM guy. Going to FRM.
And he's talented too. I mean, it's a great pairing. It's getting him back where he was before when he was so successful. I mean, not that he's doing bad this year, but he's not doing great compared to how he was last season.
Well, and let's be honest, like, look at Front Row on speed and everything this year. They're a good freaking team. Like, Todd Gilliland is top 20 in points. Like, just take this in. Like, it's amazing. And if Michael McDowell, if he would stop wrecking himself at the end of races, would be top 20 in points.
True.
So, like, and what's hilarious is, like, if you ever go see their shop in person, it is so freaking tiny. It's like, like, it's hilarious how small it is. And then they're outrunning like RCR consistently, which is like,
it's insane.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's cool. All in. Front Row Motorsport's going to be great next year. It's going to be a good year.
And honestly, the reason I root for him now is I hate McDouchebag.
Right. And it's going to be all drivers we like. It's Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, and Zane Smith next year.
I would love to see that.
That's insane.
I would love to see that team succeed and just lights out. Put these big manufacturers or big teams on.
And I think something to really harp on is the amount of new charters coming in, or reactivated charters, should I say? How many extra cars? Wait, 1, 2, 3. I mean, we could have 4 extra cars next year, I think.
No, because they're retaining 1. FRM bought 1. Trackhouse confirmed they got one of theirs from SHR.
So I guess that's right. We're just losing SHR. That's where they're all going.
So
never mind.
But you're right in the sense that unless I'm missing one, there's still a 4th charter unclaimed. So there's still someone else gaining a car next year, which I know the rumor there, and I'm really hoping it's not true, but I don't like it. Riley Herbst to a 3rd 2311 car is the popular rumor, and I know. No, who wants that? Nobody freaking wants that.
Yeah, I think that 3rd 2311 car is going to be part-time, and I think it's going to be a full-time car, but part-time drivers. I think it's going to be Martin Truex Jr. I think it's going to be Riley Herbst. I think it's going to be whoever the next young stud is in the Xfinity.
Corey Heim.
From what I understand, yeah, how about it? From what I understand, Martin's planning on running the Daytona 500 for 23XI.
1,000%.
So, keeping going down the list, Daniel Dye, full-time racing at colleague. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not loving that.
Turns out money does buy you a ride.
Especially
at colleague lately. Like, I love colleague.
I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know that I love them anymore. What are they doing?
They're going for money over talent. They really are. Except AJ Allmendinger. Like the rest of their drivers are all. Yeah. Apparently their Cup ride is being announced this week. FYI, the second one, because we already know Dinger's in the one. Apparently the 31 will be announced later this week. By the way, which means it's not Daniel Hemrick.
I mean, the best thing about Daniel Dye is the fact that he always has an extra camera on his car, and he's always right where the bullshit is. Yeah, I mean, how many times have they gone to replays, and he is right there where the action is? That's about the only good thing, because he certainly hasn't done much other than that.
Because he runs like 35th all the time.
That's a true story.
He's in the truck playoffs. I guess I can't say too much. But there's not the truck series doesn't have much right now going for it.
They really don't.
It's all
coming up next week. We have the schedule coming out, the full release. There's been a lot of we know some things are added, some things are taken away. I'm excited to see it. I'm a little nervous because I am so tired of adding road courses, like
Mexico City.
Like I just can't.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say on that. Do you have any opinions? Do you have any?
Well, so let's focus on the good. And Mitch and I discussed this, so I feel like as a full collective, we have to discuss this quickly. There is a very, very, very popular rumor, and I have already gotten permission to partake in said rumor. So I feel like we should probably get a whole group to do it. It looks like Rockingham will be Easter weekend on Friday and Saturday with Trucks and Xfinity. So we could go and still be home for Easter Sunday.
I mean, I love that idea.
I'm thinking if that does happen, I may or may not already have permission, and I may be buying tickets today. It's announced if that's what happens. So I feel like we probably just need to we got to talk to the Here for Speed guys, get them to drive up, and I think we all just need to go.
I am 10,000% down.
Sweet. Well, that was easy, guy. David, you in?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, let's do it, baby.
I agree with what David said earlier, though. Too much road courses. I mean, I like that they're allowing for the wet weather tire. That's at least been the big, gap of the bridge. But
it's at least better, yeah.
It's still not saving it because a lot of the road courses are poorly designed for this style car, and there's not enough places to pass unless you're dive bombing people and just yeeting them out of the way.
Now, I am really curious to see. So this week on the teardown, Jordan Bianchi, our famous Bianchi bomb guy, dropped that Watkins Glen will be bringing like a crazy soft tire this year. So I am really curious to see if we get a little bit of that road course, like good racing back. But you're right. Like I don't want more road courses. I feel like we're oversaturated. I'm 1,000%. I think there's way too many good ovals to be going to that many road courses.
Agreed.
Yeah. But if Rockingham comes back, honestly, I don't even care about the Cup cars at Rockingham. I'm great going Friday and Saturday, seeing Truck and Xfinity. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that track's iconic. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm excited.
So I have a hard out time that is in 2 minutes.
All
so
right. Moving on to picks.
I am going to go first because I want to.
Do we know your pick already by what you're wearing? Come on, buddy.
Bushinator winning in.
It's a really good pick. It's a really good pick. I think
he's a busher.
Do we think the racing's going to be good this weekend?
I hope not.
I feel like the spring was better. Like it felt like a step in the right direction. So I'm mildly optimistic.
It was better.
Yeah. If we can get a baby hair softer tire, you know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good race. I hope it's going to be a good race, I guess I should say. But I think Buescher's got it in the bag. He's very good at Darlington, and I think he needs it.
I like the pick a lot. I really, really do. Kevin, who you thinking?
That is a tough one. As much as it pains me to say this, I think Reddick's going to continue to show his dominance.
It's another really solid pick. Really solid. I saw a thing this week, and it was all of the 4 major crown jewels right now and who won it. And so far, every one has been won by somebody that was in the championship 4 last year. The only one that has not is Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
So the loyalist in me wants to say Ryan Blaney's winning, but unfortunately, I don't know that he's got the speed at Darlington, so I'm torn. So like the loyalist in me says Ryan Blaney's getting it done Sunday night. I like Ross Chastain because he's got to show up and perform to get into the playoffs, and his track record's really good at Darlington.
Well,
so
he's a wild man. He'll stick it in there where he doesn't belong just to make it happen.
He's proven it here. So I think it's the 12 or the 1, and if I got to pick one, I'm probably going with the 1.
Fair pick. Very fair pick.
Do you have any other final words before you got to bail, David?
DLG Electric, DLGelectric.com. Check us out. No, I'm super excited for the playoffs to get started and for the race this week. So looking forward to it.
Going to be good. Hope we see all the RFK cars joining it. That's the goal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Buescher deserves it. I mean, he's gotten
screwed
there
twice.
so many times. Yeah.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Yeah. He deserves it.
100%. Well, I'm glad you could join, even if you are remote, David. I'm glad you could still be here.
Yeah, you guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, buddy.
Take it easy, my man. All right. Well, before we sign off, Kevin, since we still had the two of us,
Yes,
we have not talked any dirt track racing yet, and we did have the Sportsman's at Williams Grove on Friday. They do it once a year. So, I don't, like, what was that experience? I got to watch it on TV, but I know Dirt Vision's not the same as being there. So
you know, it's funny. Whenever you're at Williams Grove, and I'm not trying to knock the track's iconic, but
you can knock it. We knock it all the time.
I try to be respectful, but I hear you. A lot of times at Williams Grove, there's not a lot of passing, and it's a lot of follow the leader. You know, it's you know, everybody following until somebody screws up, and that's when you pounce. And, you know, not to be a homer or anything like that, but Kenny started 8th in the feature and drove his way up to 3rd. I think that was solid and proves how stout of a driver and a car he had. And, you know, they shortened our feature. Normally we have a 25-lap feature. It was only a 20-lap feature there.
Yeah, what was up with that? I don't like that.
I don't know what the details were with that. I feel like last year they shortened us at the Grove also. I could be wrong, but that's what my memory seems to be indicating.
I thought it was at least 25 last year because we were there. We went last year for it, and I felt like it was 25.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't honestly know the details of that or why, but you know, Kenny made a strong bid and just marched up through the field, you know, methodically and making smart moves and everything like that. He got kind of tied up with another car, you know, on one of the late
Tony
restarts.
Jackson. That guy sucks.
It was not Tony Jackson. It was Troy Rome. Troy Rome.
We like Troy.
You know,
He's a nice
went
guy.
and dove across Kenny's front end, and you know, Kenny being the good driver he was, saw it happening and backed off just a little bit, but then he had to get a run back around him, and that ate up about 5 laps or so. So that really ate into his ability to drive up to the front because I think he was there. I mean, you know, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But again, started in 8th at the Grove and drive up to 3rd. That is still solid.
From somebody that watches a lot of racing at Williams Grove, that's big because that track, like the straightaways are so long and the corners are so tight that like it looks like, I mean, I'm not a driver. I'm just a fan that watches, but it looks like you're constantly fighting aero stuff because you can never get out of the wake.
Well, exactly. And, whenever, you're following the leader, that does disrupt the air. And whenever you try to maneuver, if there's not enough lane of another lane there, you're kind of killing your tires or killing your equipment, and you're just trying to get a run and find something and hope that the guy in front of you just kind of fouls up and misses his mark by that much so you can pounce on him. And, that doesn't always present itself. And, whenever the super sportsmen were out there was a little bit of a high line, but it didn't come in until later in the run, so it definitely shows the patience that you need in order to be good in any racing series, honestly.
Yeah. And especially there, because I know, I've watched so many 410 races there, and it's like the big joke is to win, you got to start on the front row.
I mean, that's very true. I'm not going to argue that. There's more often than not that, whoever starts on the front row is leading the entire race unless they step on their ding ding and screw themselves up.
Right.
Speaking of, though, I don't know.
Speaking of stepping on their ding ding.
not what I meant. Not what I meant. Devin Borden took a wild ride at the Grove.
Yeah.
That was gnarly.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I have become a huge Devin Borden fan this year. Like, he has impressed me so much. Like, I'm a Danny Dietrich fan for anyone that doesn't know that. But, like, Devin has really, really impressed me. But I missed the wreck, and all I saw was the aftermath. Like, did you catch the wreck? Like, what happened?
So at that point, I was working on the car, but I heard about it from another one of the team members, and I saw the aftermath, and I mean that was nasty. And they said that he went airborne as high as the catch fence, and I mean that's some elevation.
Holy crap! That's a lot.
So I mean, I think he was all right. They said over the PA system that he was all right. I hope that the next day he wasn't feeling it too bad. But that was a pretty gnarly wreck from what everybody said.
Jeez. Well, we definitely hope he's okay. I've been really impressed with Devin because he's good, obviously, and he's really, really clean. Like, I've seen moments where, because I'm not the biggest Anthony Macri fan, because I feel like he has no issue pushing people out of the way, and that's just not my style.
Yeah, you won't hear any argument out of me. I mean, not that I'm trying to knock the guy, but he definitely likes to take his
shove it in there.
Take his liberties, take space.
Whereas, like, I've seen opportunities for Devin Borden that he doesn't do that, and he'll literally be there and try lanes until he can pass them cleanly. Like, honestly, like, I'm not saying this because he's our friend, but like, Kenny's the same way.
Agreed.
Like, Kenny will not run anyone out of the way for a win. Like, he'll pass them cleanly. And
even
then be a complete smart butt in the post race interview, which we're always a fan of.
Oh, definitely, 100%. I mean, there's one thing to see the gap and go for it, but there's another thing to know if that gap is going to close and if you're going to have enough time to make it happen. And also just knowing your car control to make sure you're not going to slide out and right rear somebody and wad up another person's car,
Yeah. No, that was good. Big fan of Borden. I know Macri won Friday night, which he actually came from fourth, I think. He wasn't on the front row.
No, but he was up towards the front. I felt bad for the 11 team because they led basically the entire race, and then it was that late restart that just kind of did him in.
And he dropped like a rock when he went, because I think Dietrich ended up fifth, which was impressive because Dietrich started like, I don't know, 27th it felt like, but I think it was like 11th or 12th. And he made it up to, I'm pretty sure, top 5, because I think he passed TJ on the last lap.
Yeah, I mean, TJ ran a smart race. I mean, before that late caution came out, I mean, he was out.
Gone.
He was at least a half a straightaway ahead, and just untimely cautions, kind of cost him. It sucks.
I'm guessing he just burned his stuff up is probably the idea.
More than likely, I don't know for a fact. I didn't talk to him or anything like that. But it just, to be so dominant and then have it kind of ripped away from you, it just, that sucks for anybody, honestly.
Yeah, it does. And TJ's a cool guy. He did get that massive World of Outlaws win at Williams Grove, which was awesome.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that was cool.
And props to him, because that was amazing. And again, I like TJ. He seems like he's a real decent guy. And, just to be right there at the jaws of victory and have it ripped away from you, I feel for him,
Yeah, for sure. Another item in Dirt World Racing. I know we will be going, me and Mitch and Jordan Goodling are going to the Tusky 50 in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
We're excited about it. I don't know if you guys are going to port that night or not. But
I don't know. It's a little too far out. Right now, I'm just worrying about this coming weekend.
That's fair. You guys are back at Babs this weekend.
We are back at Babs for the 100 lapper. That's the biggest race of our season.
We will most likely be there.
Awesome.
I love, and that's another thing, guys. If you live in the South Central Pennsylvania area, the Sportsman 100 at Baps Motor Speedway, which is, I still think, one of the best dirt tracks in our area is Baps Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think it's awesome. Way better than Williams Grove.
I may be biased. I think that Silver Springs was the best until they sold
Pour
out.
Pour one out for Williams.
And I hate to say it like that, but I think Baps has really come a long way since the new ownership took over, and they really made that track a lot nicer. But yes, the Super Sportsman 100, biggest race of the season. And I saw a post earlier today that they had 36 cars confirmed. Now, one team did say that they blew their motor last weekend at the Grove. So we're down to 35 teams, but that's the biggest field we've had all season just because of the prestige of this event.
And I assume all 3 Edkins will be running. Is that
that's the plan? That's the plan at this point. I mean, it's going to be all hands on deck for sure.
That's cool. That'll be fun. I'm mostly sure we're going because we did talk about it, so I think we're reserved. But that'll be
true fans would be there. Just saying.
I'll wear this shirt. I got my Edkin shirt on.
That's right. We need you there to represent.
Yeah, I'll wear my Edkin shirt and my Dietrich hat like I always do for dirt races.
There you go. There you go.
I think so. I told Kenny when he first went 410 racing, I was like, "Listen, I'm sorry, I was a Danny Dietrich fan first, so you're second place."
I love it. I love it.
I'll give you second, but there's already someone in first. So,
I mean, if they're racing neck and neck for the win in the 410s, I mean, come on, who?
Okay, I'll be honest. Danny's already won, obviously. So, like, if to see Kenny win a 410 race would be freaking cool.
All right,
so, like,
good answer.
At least for the first one, I will take Kenny. Yeah, that's
all
fair.
right. I'll take it.
But yeah, if anyone's in the Central PA area, come out this Saturday night for sure. The Sportsman 100 is always really fun. And I feel like we've talked about this on the podcast. I am such a big advocate that I wish sprint car races could be longer because I think it's some of the best racing, and the only hindrance is a lot of times it's only 25 laps long. True. The Sportsman 100 is so cool to me because you'll actually see the track change multiple times. Mm-hmm. You'll see comers and goers, and it's like you kind of get like NASCAR dynamic with the better racing quality that sprint cars have.
Oh, no doubt.
So for me, the Sportsman 100 is always really fun. Like I understand track prep is a massive variable with dirt, but I still wish with sprint cars they did more of that kind of stuff because I feel like you get to see more comers and goers, you get more storylines, you get more like people getting pissed off because they got cut off 20 times and they just get to a point where they're done. Like there's so much good. So the Sportsman 100 will be fun this weekend.
Well, and something else about the Sportsman 100 is it's a race of attrition to a certain point, and then once you get past that point, it's time to go. And, there's a lot of it, a big aspect of it that you have to make sure that you save enough in the bank and don't burn your tires up, and make sure you're not running yourself out of fuel to make sure that you have that last push to the final. Point. And, leading every lap is great, but just because you're leading doesn't guarantee you the win because there are lots of squirrels out there. And, squirrels have cost great drivers the wins many times numbers. Before. not that I'm biased or anything.
Yeah. And am I correct? That is the only Super Sportsman major race that Kenny has not won. Is that correct?
That is the only crown jewel that he has not won yet. He's won all the other, prestigious races. This is the one that's eluded him. It kind of reminds me of Earnhardt Sr. and Daytona.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Just saying, there's a great comparison there, and I'm just really hoping for a good turnout, hoping the weather works out, and hoping that we can survive till the end to see what happens.
Yeah. Totally. And like I said, hopefully I will be there. It's really fun. And I enjoy this because so Mitch and David do not follow sprint car racing.
Okay.
So anytime we talk about sprint cars, it's just me talking and I don't want to just listen to my own voice for 5 minutes. So
That's a first.
Yeah. But shut up. So I'll abbreviate everything and I don't feel like we get to engage on dirt. So that we need to have you more because the dirt world, so we can actually have conversations.
I'm not saying I know the dirt world. I'm just saying that I know a little bit enough to get myself in trouble, and I just got a lot of good opinions.
Yeah, that's true.
Or bad opinions, or
bad opinions.
I just talk crap. That's all.
Who would be your favorite 410 driver outside of Kenny, if you had to pick one?
If I had to pick one, and I don't want you to think that I'm saying this just because I'm here on the program, but Danny Dietrich.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
I like his kind of smart sports mentality.
That was one of the things that sold me on him too.
Yeah, I mean, and he is a good driver, and he can make a lot happen even when the cards are stacked against him. You know, I definitely am a Dietrich fan, and we race against a Dietrich in the super sportsman world, and I believe they're related somewhere along the lines. And Luke Dietrich is a real down to earth, decent guy. I just don't want to be on their bad side. Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. I know that relationship. I feel like I get that. No, that's cool. And that was honestly why I became a fan too, because like you saw the talent. He's a clean driver.
Yes.
Like the only person that he wrecks is Freddie Raymer, but honestly, he deserves it sometimes. And again, like if you follow him on Twitter, he's a complete smart aleck. And I'm like, that was honestly like all of those three things together was when I was like, all right, I'm a Danny Dietrich fan.
Well,
like it's just that easy.
Just some of the social media postings back and forth between him and Deweese. I mean,
it's
hilarious.
so good.
Amazing.
I think it was last summer. Him and Deweese had the best Twitter thread I feel like I've ever seen between drivers, where they just insulted each other back and forth, and then end it with like, "LOL, see you this weekend, bro. Yeah, have a good weekend." Yeah,
yeah,
like,
I love it.
Just like,
I love it. I love that dynamic.
It's so much fun, and they're both crazy talented. I mean, Lance Deweese, my gosh.
Well, I mean, he's been an icon in Central Pennsylvania for a long time, and I don't want to take anything away from the guy. I mean, it's a little sad to see him getting bounced around between the different rides. I mean, because he is still talented. Don't knock
honestly,
him.
I really liked him in that 39M whenever Anthony got fired by his family for a couple months.
Yes, not arguing that whatsoever.
Dude, he was so fast in that car, and I was like, oh, Lance is gonna like destroy the 69K now. Oh, it's gonna be so cool. But I'll tell you what, that 12 is getting faster every week. If you look at like where he runs in heats, where he qualifies and where he finishes, like it's on the upward trajectory. So the 12 team's getting faster.
Well, and I think also it just takes time to kind of mesh and get everybody on the same page and to get kind of that lingo going so that everybody knows what you're talking about, what you're looking for, and how to achieve, the end result to have the best car possible.
Yeah. I'm down for saying Lance Deweese win a ton of races again. I was good with that. Yeah.
I mean,
and he's another one that's a really, like, he is a clean driver. Like, he will not put a fender on anyone. Like, he's a good dude. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've not had too many interactions with any of them personally, but, I've not heard a whole lot of bad about him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, 100%. So, anywho, I feel like that's probably going to wrap us up for this week. Dude, I'm so glad you could join. I say it every time. We got to have you more often.
Hey, I'm down. I'm down. I just need a little bit of notice. That's all.
So this was, for those listening at home, obviously the NASCAR race was Saturday night, which means we got to actually plan the episode Sunday rather than the race being Sunday night, because, of course, they all get rain delayed now. And then us having like 45 minutes to plan the episode. So that's why like the last 4 months have literally just been me, David, and Mitch in some variation, because it's like the only thing that we can get scheduled in time. And this was the one where the race was Saturday night. And I was like, oh, we have time to invite Kevin. Let's have Kevin back.
I wish I could have seen the Xfinity race, because I would have loved to have contributed more. But it's just when you gotta juggle everything. But I'm glad I was able to be here. Hopefully, I added a couple good points at least. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, you added a ton. This is great.
I enjoy coming, hanging out, and talking to everybody.
You're welcome anytime. We're going to have you back more often once we get better organized. But thanks again, and y'all have a good week. Darlington, hopefully going to be good. I think I'm a little bit optimistic. Tires are getting a little softer. Drivers are getting pissed off. I feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Well, and I still love the multi-compound options for the teams. I wish they would do that more.
Soft as it can get. That's my vote. Yeah, let the drivers manage, baby. Let it burn. Regardless, we know Xfinity is going to be phenomenal, because Xfinity is always phenomenal at Darlington.
Yes,
best racing series in the world right now. And hopefully Justin Allgaier takes it to victory lane again, because he's really good at Darlington. So that's why I'm sporting my corn hat tonight. So anyway, have a good weekend, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Take her easy.
Hey!